It was June the 30th, 2018. I joined the graduation ceremony of my primary school and could not help myself sharing the joyfulness with my family. But when I was back home, I found everything was covered by dark clothes, and I was told my great-grandma passed away that morning at her age of 103. Until today, I can still clearly get a strong feeling at that moment. Sorrow, but more strongly, shocked. That was the first time for me to approach the word death, and it was so tangible. It took away the life of our beloved ones. I could never share the joyfulness of my graduation with my dear great-grandma. From that day, I could not stop thinking of questions like, what's going to happen when we die? Are we going to feel painful? Will we travel to another planet far from Earth and start a new life? I was scared. Before that, I did not even have a strong sense that I would also die one day. I became so anxious. I could not imagine the moment I closed my eyes and stopped breathing. It's so horrible. If you have had the same fear as I did, it's very common and natural. Everyone's afraid of death, and it's impossible for us to eliminate our fear to death completely. Today, I won't be telling any sorrowful stories, and I promise that I won't make you feel uncomfortable. My goal is to let everyone understand that death should not be a forbidden topic. For thousands of years, people have been having strong stereotypes on death, but actually it's needless. Death is one of the most important parts of life. Unless we have a positive attitude towards it, we will never understand our life as well as human destiny. When talking about death, there's lots to say, but today I only have 10 minutes, so we're only discussing two questions: how to interpret death and how to compromise with death. Please take some time to think of how you built up your knowledge of death. Did your parents or teachers tell you what death is? Probably not. My knowledge of death is largely based on novels and movies. I grew up in a traditional Chinese family. In Chinese culture, death is an ominous word that results in unlucky things. In my childhood, the adults told me that when I grow up, I will become very tall and strong. I may fall in love with a handsome guy. I may have some kids, something like that. But they've never ever told me that one day I would die, and everyone would die. They thought I was not old enough to understand this concept. I felt so strange. When my great-grandma passed away, I mentioned my great-grandma and I felt so strange because my uncle told me it was improper to talk about that topic in that scenario. I felt so strange because when my great-grandma was alive, she loved all of us and we respected her. Why did her name become a taboo after she passed away? Isn't it ironic? Are we too sensitive about death? Why can't death just be a normal topic? What are we literally afraid of? The scientific explanation of death is the structural damage of brainstem. It's nothing new to us. Medical and biological scientists explain it quite well. What really leads to our fear is the unknown afterlife. Have you seen pictures online describing what will happen after death? These paintings were created by a Polish artist. He suffered from a severe car accident. When he woke up after a few months, he said he traveled to another world and drew his appearance on the drawing board. Do you really believe these paintings demonstrate the afterlife? Well, frankly speaking, I don't. No one can tell what afterlife literally is, and we felt afraid exactly because of the unknown. Unfortunately, there's no solution to this question. We don't understand it. But what we can, or what we should understand is that death is an inevitable process of every single life. As of yet, human technology cannot support carbon-based organisms to have eternal life. Therefore, when I said inevitable, it means all of us will encounter the word death in the future, unless you are a robot. As I said, we cannot totally eradicate our fear to death, so what we can do is to minimize the anxiety and sadness from death. Avoiding talking talking about death is never a good idea. It will only make people to feel more scared. I use the word compromising this section because we are now standing at an opposite position of death. Life and death are integrated. We cannot isolate one of them from the other. We have to understand death. In other countries such as US and UK, death education is a compulsory course from primary school to university. Some schools invite nurses and hospice care workers to teach students about the knowledge of death, such as why people die, how to prevent or identify cancers, and how to be emotionally prepared to death. Unfortunately, we don't have it in China currently, as our stereotype to death is still there. Governments, schools, communities, and families should work together to find out a way to establish the same education courses, but it's necessary. Once all kids have access to the fundamental knowledge of death, they will understand that death is just a process of life, and their stereotype and fear to death will be weakened. Secondly, treasure life. Although I attempted to comfort myself that death is just a process of life, still I cannot get rid of the fear. Well, it's pretty normal. So my solution is, instead of worrying about an event taking place after decades, why not just focus on the current life? After I accepted the fact that I would die one day, I thought my life became easier. I tried to make every single day colorful and have a positive mood. When I get depressed, I just tell myself that life is short. Do not struggle with meaningless things. Just let them be whatever they want to be. Just focus on your own life. I want to use a quote from When Breath Becomes Air to end my speech. I can't go on, I will go on. Death is unescapable. Death is there like a mysterious gate waiting for us. For every single past moment, we are moving closer to it. But does it mean life is meaningless? Of course not. Conversely, because of the fact of death, we have more courage to embrace life. Let's keep going on with the end in mind. Thank you.